I thought I was finally over. I thought I would breathe again, smile without faking it. But then I found the one thing I wasn't supposed to find. And now, I don't know who broke me more. Part 3. Can we talk? Please, just 5 minutes. I sit up slowly, staring at the screen like it's burning through my hand. My stomach knots. Part of me wants to ignore him forever. But another part, the messy, wounded, loyal to a fault part, it's still tangled in him. And I hate that. Elias comes back a few minutes later with 2 coffees and a paper bag that smells like heaven. You okay? He asks, handing me the warm cup. I nod. He texted. His jaw tightens just slightly. And? He wants to talk. There's a pause. Elias doesn't say anything right away, and I can feel the weight of the silence between us. Do you want to? He finally asks. I don't know, I whisper. I don't even know what I'd say. You don't owe him anything, he says. But if there's something you need to say for you, then say it. Just don't do it for him. God, why is he so damn good? I text Noah back. Fine, 10 minutes. Queen Street Bridge. Sunset. That evening, the city is gold and quiet. The bridge is almost empty when I get there. The wind pulls at my coat, and the sky is all pink and orange, like it's trying to make this feel prettier than it really is. Noah shows up right on time. He looks nervous, his hands in his jacket pockets, hair messed up like he's been running his hands through it all day. When he sees me, his eyes soften in that way I used to live for. It hurts more than I want to admit. Maya. Noah. Silence. He takes a slow breath. You look good. I shrug. You look like you've seen a ghost. Kind of feel like I have. We stand there for a second, and then it all rushes in. I don't even know where to start, he says. I stare at him. Try with why. Why I left, he asks quietly. I nod. He leans on the railing, staring out at the water. Because I was scared. Because I felt like I didn't deserve you. Because you loved me more than I knew how to handle. And instead of growing up, I ran, like I always do. I don't say anything. I'm trying not to cry. I hurt you, he says. I know that. And it kills me, Maya. You were the only thing in my life that felt real. And I broke it. You didn't just break it, I whisper. You broke me. He looks at me then, and his eyes are glassy. I know. I begged you to stay. I begged you to just love me right. And you walked away. I hated myself for it. Not enough to come back, I say. Not until now. Not until I started to heal without you. There's a long pause. I still love you, he says. It's barely a whisper. I never stopped. My chest tightens so hard I can barely breathe. But then I look at him, and I don't feel what I thought I'd feel. I don't feel pulled. I feel sad. Because the boy I loved is still standing still, and I've been moving forward without even knowing it. I think I loved you more than I loved myself, I say. And that was the problem. He nods slowly, pain etched all over his face. Can I ever fix it? I shake my head, soft and sure. You don't get to fix me. I'm doing that on my own now. I turn and walk away, leaving him there on the bridge, and for the first time, I feel free. There's this silence that comes after you finally let go. Not the loud kind that screams through your chest, but the quiet kind. The kind that settles deep in your bones. The kind that feels a lot like peace and just a little like grief. I walk away from that bridge like I'm leaving behind an entire version of myself. The version who waited by the phone, who shrank herself for someone else's comfort, who believed love meant suffering. I leave her there. I don't look back. Elias is at my place when I get home. He brought pizza, of course, and a movie I love. Like he knows. Like he always knows. You okay? He asks as I walk in. I nod, then shake my head, then just drop my bag and walk over to him. He doesn't ask. He just holds me, arms wrapped around me like an answer I didn't know I was looking for. I let him go. I whisper into his shirt. I know. And we sit there on the couch. No music, no distractions. Just the sound of the city humming outside and the weight of everything I've been carrying finally being put down. A few days pass. Things are different now. Not fixed, not perfect, but lighter. I wake up and I don't check my phone hoping for Noah's name. I start doing small things that feel like me again. I paint. I read in cafes. I walk with no destination. I smile at strangers. I laugh out loud. One night, Elias and I are on the roof, watching the stars. You're glowing, he says. Liar. I mean it. You're like, coming back to life. I look at him, really look at him. And it hits me how patient he's been, how present, how easy it feels around him. No confusion, no mind games, just steady warmth. Why did you stay? I ask. Even when I was a mess? Because I saw you, he says. Even when you couldn't. And just like that, I'm crying again. But not because I'm broken, because I'm healing. He brushes my tear away gently, his fingers barely touching my cheek. You don't have to love me back, he says quietly. I just needed you to know someone would choose you. Every time. God, how do you even respond to that? I don't say anything. I just lean my head on his shoulder, and we sit like that. Still, safe, quiet. That night, I write in my journal. Maybe love isn't chaos. Maybe it's not the burning or the breaking. Maybe it's the person who stays when the fire dies down. The one who sees your ashes and still believes you're worth something beautiful. There's something about Sunday mornings with Elias that feels like cheating the system. The world's loud, always has been. But with him, it's like someone finally turned the volume down. We're on his tiny balcony, legs tangled, coffee gone cold, and my head on his chest. I can feel his heartbeat, steady, calm, nothing like the chaos I crawled out of. You're quiet, he says, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. Just breathing, I whisper. He smiles, like that means something. Maybe it does. It's been 2 months since I left Noah, and in those 2 months, Elias never asked for pieces of me I wasn't ready to give. He didn't fill the silence with promises. He just stayed. Late night drives, takeout on the floor, holding my hand when I didn't even ask. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was safety, and that was something I'd forgotten how to want. I want to show you something, he says suddenly. My brows lift. Now? He nods. There's a place I go when my head's a mess. I think you'll like it. I smile, teasing. You calling me messy? He grins back. Only a little. The place is about 30 minutes out. Some quiet lake up north, tucked behind trees, and the kind of peace you don't find in the city. He plays music on the drive, nothing loud, the kind of songs you'd hum to yourself when no one's watching. I stare out the window, feeling not happy, but close. That counts, right? When we get there, he takes my hand. No pressure, just fingers brushing, slow and soft. We sit by the water. I take off my shoes, dip my toes in. The cold hits like honesty. I didn't think I'd get here, I say. Here? He asks. This place. Feeling okay with someone again. He looks at me like he sees every crack in me and still wants to stay. Me neither. I lean my head on his shoulder. Let the quiet fill everything in between. And for a second, I let myself think maybe this time I won't break. But I should have known better. Because peace, like this, it always comes before the storm. The next morning, I woke up in Elias's hoodie. Not his bed, just his couch. We didn't cross that line. Not yet. He made me tea, called me sunshine, in that sarcastic tone, because I apparently grumble like a gremlin in the morning. I threw a pillow at him. It hit a lamp. We laughed, and I swear, I thought this was it, the soft part of the story, the one where things get better. But then I saw it. I was digging through his kitchen drawer for a spoon. Innocent, harmless. But the drawer stuck, so I yanked it a little too hard, and something slid out from the back. An envelope. Old, torn at the edge, with my name on it, written in Noah's handwriting. I froze. I stared at it like it was on fire. Then I picked it up. My hands were shaking, my breath caught in my throat. I opened it. Inside was a single photo, me and Noah at that beach trip from forever ago. The one I thought I lost when I moved out. And a note. Short, rushed, almost angry. If you're reading this, it means he never told you the truth. Ask him about Montreal. North Montreal? What the hell does that mean? And why does Elias have this? He walked into the kitchen a second later, holding 2 mugs. When he saw the envelope in my hand, his face changed. Barely, but I caught it. He opened his mouth, closed it. I held up the letter. What is this? He didn't answer. I asked again, louder this time. Elias, why do you have this? His voice came out low. I was going to tell you. Tell me what? I snapped. My chest felt like it was being crushed. He reached for me. I stepped back. I didn't know you back then, he said. Not really. But Noah, he told me about you. Before, everything. I blinked. Wait, what are you saying? I met him in Montreal. We worked together for a few months. I didn't know he'd hurt you. I didn't know your name until you told me yours that night at the cafe. My whole body went cold. You knew him. My voice cracked. I swear, Maya, I didn't. You knew him. I stepped back again, and you didn't tell me. I didn't think it mattered. Didn't, I laughed, but it sounded more like choking. You watched me fall apart over him. You saw what it did to me, and you said nothing. He tried to come closer. I'm sorry. I shook my head. Number, you don't get to say that. I dropped the letter on the counter like it burned. I need air, I muttered. I need space. And before he could stop me, I walked out the door, barefoot, hoodie still on, heart cracking wide open, because just when I thought I was learning how to breathe again, someone handed me the same knife Noah used, and this time it had Elias's fingerprints on it. I didn't go home, didn't text, didn't call. I just wandered through quiet side streets and loud intersections, past people with lives I wasn't a part of. I ended up in a park downtown, barefoot, hoodie, 2 sizes too big, sitting on a bench like some forgotten thing. And for the first time in months, I felt it again, that familiar ache in my chest, the one I'd buried under takeout nights and soft kisses, the one I thought I'd outgrown. Turns out, heartbreak has a funny way of crawling back when you let your guard down. Noah, Elias, both of them tangled in this web I didn't even know I was caught in. What was real? What wasn't? Did I even matter? Or was I just someone they passed between them like a secret? The wind picked up, and I pulled Elias's hoodie tighter. Stupid. I should have burned it. My phone buzzed. I looked down. Elias. Again. Ignored. Buzzed again. This time, a voicemail. I hesitated, then pressed play. Maya, please, just let me explain. I didn't lie, I just didn't know how to tell you. And when I finally did, it already felt too late. You were happy, and I didn't want to ruin that. I swear I wasn't part of whatever Noah did. I swear to you, what I feel for you is real. Please, don't shut me out like this. Please. Click. I stared at the screen, at his name. My stomach twisted, because part of me believed him, and part of me wanted to believe nothing. Mind if I sit here? A voice, software, familiar. I looked up, and there she was. Leah, my ex-roommate, my ex-everything, really. We hadn't talked since the Noah drama exploded. She sat down without waiting for permission. You look like a sad indie movie, she said. I laughed, kind of. Great, that's the vibe I was going for. She didn't ask questions, just sat with me like she knew I needed it. After a while, I finally said it out loud. Elias knew him. Her eyebrows raised. Noah? I nodded. Worked with him, knew things, didn't tell me. She whistled low. Damn, that's heavy. Yeah. And then, quietly, I really liked him, Leah. I was starting to trust again. I thought I was okay. She turned to face me. You are okay, even when everything's not. That doesn't go away just because someone disappoints you. I let that sit, let it wrap around my ribs and hold me together for a minute. Then I whispered, I don't know if I can forgive him. Leah's voice was soft. You don't have to. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But you deserve the whole truth, whatever it is. And for the first time in hours, I nodded. Because yeah, I was tired, broken, confused. But I wasn't going to run anymore. Not from this. Not from the truth. I didn't sleep. I went home eventually, late, when the city felt empty and cold. But I just stared at the ceiling. Elias had called 6 more times, left 2 more voicemails. The last one just said, I'll be at the old pier, if you want answers. I didn't delete them. I didn't listen again either. But something about that last message, it stuck. The next morning, I got up, brushed my teeth with a mouth that still tasted like regret, and stood in front of the mirror for a long time. I looked like someone else, someone quieter, someone tired of being hurt. But beneath that, there was still me, the version of me that needed to know. So I went to the old pier, just like he said, wind in my face, hair wild, jacket thrown over whatever shirt was clean, and there he was, Elias, leaning on the railing, hood up, head down. When he saw me, his face cracked with something like relief and something like fear. I didn't say anything, just stood there. He spoke first. I met him a year before I met you, he said quietly. In Montreal, I was bartending at this trashy bar, one of those places that smells like tequila and bad decisions. I didn't smile. He kept going. Noah came in a lot, alone at first, then sometimes with this older guy. They were always arguing in the back booth. I didn't care. I just poured drinks. He paused, like it hurt to say this next part. One night, Noah got drunk, real drunk, told me about this girl. Said she was soft and stupid and in love with him. Said he could do anything and she'd still come back. He looked at me then. I didn't know it was you, Maya. Not until months later. Not until I saw your face in that cafe and your name clicked in my head like a knife. The wind howled around us, but I was frozen. He called me soft and stupid, I whispered. Elias winced. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have repeated it. No, I shook my head. I'm glad you did. Because that, right there, that was my closure. Not poetic, not sweet, just ugly and real. The truth, finally, I stepped closer. Slowly. I wish you told me, I said. The moment you remembered me. I was scared. Of what? That you'd leave before I got the chance to be someone better for you. He looked at me, eyes glassy. I fell in love with you, Maya. Not because I pitied you, not because of what he said, but because you laugh at your own jokes. Because you get emotional during dumb commercials. Because you're you. God, I wanted to hate him. I wanted to throw something, but I didn't. I just stood there, breaking in quiet ways. And then I said, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. That's okay, he whispered. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know. I nodded, turned to leave. But just before I did, I said, thank you for telling me the truth, even if it hurts. And as I walked away, I didn't feel lighter, but I did feel like maybe I could breathe again. One honest breath at a time. I didn't cry. Not right away. I went home, took off my shoes, threw my jacket on the floor, and just sat, cross-legged on my bed, staring at nothing. That in-between space, not sad, not okay, just floating. Then it came, slow at first, like a leak in the roof. A tear slipped out before I even realized it, and then another. And then I couldn't stop. It wasn't just about Elias, or Noah, or being lied to. It was about me. About how easily I gave myself to people, how I loved like it was a full-time job, how I kept hoping someone would just stay, choose me. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And every time I ended up here, back in this room, this silence, this body that felt too heavy with memories, I curled into myself like a child and whispered the things I wish someone would say to me. You're enough, Maya. You're enough even when they walk away, even when they lie, even when they leave you carrying the weight alone. I didn't believe it, not fully, but I said it anyway, because maybe if I said it enough, it would feel true someday. Hours passed. The city outside kept moving, and somewhere in the middle of my grief spiral, my phone buzzed. Leah, you okay? I almost didn't reply, but I owed her that much. Me, no, but I think I will be. And honestly, that was the most honest thing I'd said in days. Not okay, not yet, but maybe eventually. I made tea, wrapped myself in a blanket, put on that playlist that hurts just right. Then I pulled out my notebook, not to write a poem, but to list everything I'd learned about myself, about love, about letting go. Here's what I wrote at the top of the page. Things I won't apologize for anymore. Crying when it hurts. Loving people who didn't know how to love me back. Walking away when I deserved better. Starting over, again and again. Being too soft in a world that praises hardness. By the time I finished the list, my heart still hurt. But it wasn't screaming anymore. It was whispering. And sometimes a whisper is where healing begins. I woke up and made my bed. That might not sound like much, but for me, it was everything. Because yesterday, I couldn't even stand to be in that bed without falling apart. And today, I smoothed the sheets, fluffed the pillows, and gave myself 1 point for showing up. There was a little sunlight pushing through the window, soft and golden, like maybe the universe wasn't done with me yet. I made coffee, played some SZA in the background, let it hum in the kitchen like a warm friend. Then I pulled out my laptop and started looking for something new, a class, a part-time job, a weekend retreat where you scream into the woods and write poetry in the dirt. I didn't even know what I was looking for, but I knew I needed to do something for me. Not for Noah, not for Elias, not for anyone else's expectations. Leah texted me again. Leah, you alive? Me. barely, but I made my bed, so that's something. Leah, that's huge. Want to grab ramen later? My treat. I'll even let you cry in public. I smiled. Actually smiled. Later, when I met her at our usual spot, she didn't ask questions right away. She just slid me a drink, nodded at the menu, and said, "You're glowing, by the way, like post-breakdown chic." I laughed harder than I had in weeks. And for a second, just a second, I felt normal again. Not healed, not fixed, but me. Real, broken, still standing me. After dinner, we sat outside the restaurant, streetlights buzzing, cold air biting at our skin. Leah pulled her knees to her chest and said, "You know, I never liked Noah." "Really?" I asked. "Yeah. He had that look, like he was always performing." I stared up at the sky. I think I knew, deep down, but I wanted to be wrong. We sat in that silence for a while. Then she said, "So what now?" And I said, "Now? I keep waking up. I keep choosing me. I keep making my bed." It wasn't dramatic, wasn't some big epiphany, just a quiet decision. But those quiet decisions, they change everything. He showed up on a Tuesday, just like that, no warning, no apology, just a knock on the door that made my spine freeze. I didn't even check who it was. I just knew. Somewhere deep in my gut, my body remembered him before my brain did. I opened the door, and there he was, Noah, looking like regret, wearing the same cologne I used to bury my face in, holding a paper bag like he was just casually dropping by. "Hey," he said, like nothing ever happened, like he hadn't cracked me wide open and left me bleeding. I didn't say anything, not at first, because there's a silence that comes before the storm, and I was standing right in the middle of it. I didn't know where else to go," he said. His voice was soft, but not soft enough to make me forget, not soft enough to fix the damage. "I'm not a shelter," I said. The words came out colder than I meant them, but maybe they needed to be. He sighed, stepped back, looked down at the bag in his hands. "I brought those donuts you like, from that place on Queen Street." He lifted them like peace offerings could erase betrayal. And just like that, my body did that stupid thing again, heart clenching, eyes burning. Because even after everything, he still knew, still remembered the tiny things, still knew how to twist the knife without even trying. I took a breath. "Why are you really here, Noah?" He looked up, and I swear, for half a second, his mask dropped. "I messed up," he whispered, and I almost laughed. Because messed up? That's what you say when you forget someone's birthday. Not when you play two people at once like they're disposable. "I'm not doing this again," I said. "I just need to explain," he said. I shook my head. "Number you need a lot of things, but not from me." He reached out like he was about to touch my arm, but I stepped back, and that's when it hit him. This wasn't the girl he used to manipulate. This was someone new, someone tired, someone done. "You made your choice," I said, "and I made mine." I stepped back inside, looked him in the eye. Then I closed the door, and this time, I locked it. I slid down the wall and let myself cry. Not because I missed him, but because I didn't. And that was a grief of its own. I thought closing the door would be the end of it. Turns out, the hardest part wasn't saying goodbye. It was not looking back. Because that night, my brain replayed everything like a broken movie reel, scene after scene. Lies in HD, kisses that felt real. The way he used to breathe my name like it meant something. I laid in bed, but I didn't sleep. Just stared at the ceiling like it held answers. Spoiler, it didn't. Everything felt loud. My heartbeat, the clock ticking, the silence where his voice used to be. I kept thinking, what if I had let him talk? What if he actually meant it this time? What if I was too broken to forgive? What if I was the villain in his version of the story? And then I hated myself for even thinking that. Because that's what he always did. Made me question myself. Made me feel like the overreactor, the one who ruined it all. But I know what I saw. I know what I felt. Pain doesn't lie like people do. The next day, I couldn't get out of bed. I called in sick, turned off my phone. Leah knocked around noon. I didn't answer. She probably knew I was spiraling, but some storms you have to weather alone. I cried, hard, ugly, full body kind of crying, the kind that shakes you from the inside out. I cried for the girl I used to be, the one who loved with her whole chest, the one who thought Noah was her forever, the one who thought loyalty was enough. At some point, I grabbed my notebook, wrote one line, "You broke me, and I still wanted to hold your hand while I shattered." That's when I knew I wasn't crying because I missed him. I was crying because I missed who I was before him. Grief isn't always about death. Sometimes it's about who you became just to survive someone. By sunset, I finally moved. I washed my face, drank some water, lit a candle like I was trying to cleanse something. And in a way, I went outside. It wasn't dramatic or anything. No big moment, just me, in a hoodie and joggers, walking with my hands in my pockets, trying not to fall apart in public. Toronto was cold, like slap you in the face cold, but it felt kind of nice, honestly. Like the world reminding me I was still here, still breathing. I ended up at the park, the one with the ugly duck pond and the one sad swing set, where Elias once pushed me so high I almost forgot how heavy I was inside. I sat on the bench, exhaled everything, and then, Maya, I knew that voice. I turned. Elias. He looked tired, not bad, just different. Like someone who's seen too much, felt too much, and still came out kind. He sat next to me, careful, like I was breakable. I heard about Noah showing up. I raised an eyebrow. Word travels fast? He half smiled. Leah. Of course. We sat in silence for a bit, but it wasn't awkward. It was the kind of silence that says, I'm here if you want to talk, but I'll wait until you're ready. I appreciated that. I didn't let him in, I said eventually. Elias didn't respond right away. Then he said, good. Not because he hated Noah. He probably did, but that wasn't the point. It was the way he said it, low, gentle, like a friend proud of you for doing something hard.